In an earlier section, we talked about multiplying polynomials. Well, now we're going to divide them. All right, it's a little bit longer method for division. I'm sorry about that. But it deals with long division, just like this kind of long division. Remember good old long division, 2 divided by 175? Well, you kind of go like, okay, 2 goes into 1. Well, it doesn't. So you go to the next one. Okay, 17. How many times does 2 go into 17? Oh, that's 8 times. Okay, then you go 2 times 8. Remember, you multiply these two. Okay, it's 16, and then you subtract. Okay, 17 minus 16 is 1. And then remember, you bring down this 5. Then you go, okay, how many times does 2 go into 15? Well, 2 goes into 15. Well, 7. And you go, okay, 7 times 2 is 14. And then you subtract down, you get a 1. And then you can put decimals here, but this is like a remainder. Now, you might not remember this. You could actually, this is actually your remainder, but it's also known as 87 and 1/2 left over, or 1/2 left over. So this is 87 and a half because you take your remainder and divide by the divisor. That's how you kind of write your remainder technically. So it's 87 and 1/2. Anyways, we're going to use this concept of basic long division with these beautiful polynomials. I know you might not think they're beautiful. I do. I'm weird like that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to long divide these. So this is the divisor. So we're going to have basically 2x minus 3 on the outside. You're dividing this by 2x minus 3. So we're going to have 4x squared minus 8x plus 3. All right. So what we got here is we basically, for this, we have to think, okay, you kind of ignore the negative 3. 2x times what will give you 4x squared? That's the key here. 2x times what will give you 4x squared? Then you go, okay, that would be 2. 2x times 2x give you 2x squared. So I'm going to put 2x up here. Now, since it's 2x times 2x gives you 4x squared, I need to put x in the x's column. So here's the x's column. So I'm going to put a 2x right there. Now I multiply 2x times this. Just like regular long division, you're thinking, what times 2x gives you 4x squared? So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So we multiply, okay, we got 4x squared. And then 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Now this is where it gets kind of confusing for a lot of people. On this, we are now going to subtract down. I put it in parentheses because we're going to subtract both. 4x squared minus 4x squared, that's gone. What's negative 8x minus negative 6? This is going to mess a lot of you up. A lot of people kind of get messed up here. But when you minus a negative, it becomes a plus. So this actually becomes negative 2x. And then I bring down the 3. Now that is kind of weird for a lot of people, but hopefully you'll get used to it. Sorry. So now what we do is we go, okay, what does 2x have to multiply by to get a negative 2x? Well, don't I multiply it by negative 1? Now see how the 1 column is in, negative 1 is in the ones or the units column. So I go negative 1 times 2x will give me negative 2x. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. All right. So negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Now what we're going to do again is we're going to subtract down. When I subtract down, that's gone. 3 minus 3 is 0. So I do not have any remainder. So when I take this and divide by negative 2x minus 3, my answer is simply 2x minus 1. That is what I get when I divide the two. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do number 2 here. Same thing as we're taking this and dividing by x plus 3 this time. So we're going to have x plus 3 out front. And we have a 4x cubed. Now if you notice, there's no x squared. So one thing you have to do with these is you have to add a placeholder for your x squared. Since there's no x squared, you have to put 0x squared. It's kind of tricky. plus, for some people, they might want to put a 1x, or just leave x. It's fine, whatever is best for you. So again, anytime you're missing a term, you have to start from the highest power you're given and work your way down. You need a placeholder for every one. Otherwise, these problems kind of fall apart. So you just got to be careful with that. Okay, now the question is, what times x gives you 4x cubed? And so I think about it for a second and go, okay, yeah, if I do 4x squared times x, would they give me 4x cubed? Why, yes, it would. And then 4x squared times 3 would be 12x squared. 4x squared times 3 is 12x squared. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to subtract down. When I subtract down, these are gone. 0 minus 12 is negative 12x squared. And I got to bring down the 1x. Okay, now what times x will give me negative 12x squared? Well, wouldn't that be negative 12x? Wouldn't negative 12x times x give me negative 12x squared? Yes, it would. And then negative 12x times 3 is negative 36x. And guess what we're going to do again? We're subtracting down again. All right, just be careful with the subtracting down. That cancels. What's 1 minus a negative 36? Be careful there. It's positive 37x. Bring down the negative 5. So hopefully you're kind of seeing a pattern here. These are very repetitious type problems. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it kind of just, you'll follow a simple pattern. Okay, so I want x to become a 37x. So what do I multiply x by to become 37x? I would say that's 37. Okay, we're getting kind of big numbers here, sorry. So 37 times x is 37x. 37 times 3, oh, that might be kind of tough. 37 times 3, let's go over here. 3 times 37, 3 times 7 is 21, put the 2 there. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. So it looks like that's 1, 1, 1. Now, so that would be a positive 111. Now when I subtract down, again, always subtract down, careful. Negative 5 minus 111 is negative 116. Now what do we do with this remainder? The previous problem didn't have a remainder. When you have a remainder, here's how you write it. Ready? This is your answer. Your answer is 4x squared minus 12x plus 37. Now, since this is next, you can do it two ways. I'm going to put plus, and your answer, the remainder is negative 116 over the divisor of x plus 3. That is your answer. This is your answer, and then instead of just saying remainder blank, which some books just ask for the remainder, a lot of people, math teachers would like you to put this over the divisor. Now, instead of saying plus negative, you actually make this a negative and make that a positive, or you could put plus a negative. Either way would work depending on your teacher's preference. Kind of long, this long division, but hopefully again you see the pattern. You think of what number times this will eliminate the first piece, and then multiply it by the second. Subtract down, be careful of subtracting down. That's where all the mistakes happen. Then you bring down this, and you think what number times this gets rid of the first piece. Every single time you're just trying to get rid of the first piece. See right here? We're always just caring about the first piece. The second piece kind of just comes along. Just be careful when you subtract down again. Each time subtract down properly. It's so easy to subtract wrong. My students just, they just always make those little subtraction mistakes. So be very careful and just constantly be looking, okay, what do you multiply by that so that you can cancel the first piece. Good luck.